Hello everybody, I'm David Brownlee. I'm the Chief Executive of Audiences UK, which is the national network of audience development agencies, of which Audiences South is one very valued member. And I'm not speaking quickly enough, even now. We've produced a manifesto a year ago called Great Arts Need Great Audiences and Great Audiences Need Great Arts. It all comes together. You don't have one without the other. We've got some reasons to be cheerful. For me, if you'd asked me to give this talk 10 years ago, I would have been full of doom and gloom in terms of the digital age and what was going to happen in terms of life experience. Actually, I've been amazed it's not happened at all. We've heard a lot already today about festivals, but people of my daughter's generation absolutely are using social media, but are using it to engage in a live experience. And brands, like all of those, are desperate to engage with live happening and live arts. And I think over the next little while, you'll see other bits of the arts as well benefiting from new sources of income around that. We've talked already about the knowledge that we have now that we didn't have 10, 20 years ago. Some of that's come top down from government and from the Arts Council. Other things like the work that Audiences South has been doing, like Snapshot and The Source, giving us a huge amount more information about audiences and why they're engaging, why they're not engaging. And the bizarre thing, we've had a big recession, and yet practically every indicator you look at shows that audiences have kept growing through that recession. Question mark just appeared. Are they still growing now? Maybe they're not. But there are reasons to be less cheerful. We were approached by, I think it was about 10 young people's theatres companies to work with Audiences UK on commissioning some research into why they'd suddenly seen a huge drop in schools' bookings. Fascinating piece of research, really good. You'll hear more about it in a while. Part of it captured qualitative comments from teachers, and that's a brilliant example up there. But what it also gave us was a benchmark that showed there's already 30% of primary schools haven't engaged in any way with theatre in the last 2 years. Local government, a lot of rubbish is spoken about local government funding of the arts. These are real figures, they are draft, but they show that even taking into account inflation, up until 2009-2010, local government spending on the arts across the UK was holding firm. I'm sure that will not be the case in the next 2 to 3 years. That will have a huge impact. This is a supertanker, and this one's for James. We had a conversation some time ago about the supertanker of arts policy, about the fact that actually it shifted, but you can't see that it shifted. Somebody's turned the wheel, but it takes ages for it to catch up and you to see that actually something's happened. It happened actually when this was commissioned. I went back and read it again for the first time today for 2-3 years. January 2008 it came out. It is still a load of subjective, unresearched waffle. It completely toppled that balance, that crucial balance around supply and demand, to put it onto the supply side. Build it and they will come. Rubbish. Absolute rubbish. And it completely ignored the value of local government in the whole equation in terms of the arts. And what's it meant? Cuts, first of all. 3 years, I think the Arts Nation programme was in development and was cut before it even happened. Given those issues around the fact that we're in recession and that we desperately need to maintain those audiences, to lose that at this point was dreadful. And then the axe fell in terms of regular funding for the Audience Development Agency network. Put those two things together and you've potentially got a disaster. Whenever I talk about Audiences UK, I say that we have complete geographic coverage of the whole of the UK, except for the East, where we have a hole. But over the last 18 months, we've been working in the East to see how we can support them there with Arts Council support. And what we found is that, with Leo and others, that there is a real issue there around the quality and the learning within arts organisations. And there is the potential that will now be multiplied in other parts of the country. Stick it all together, and the picture looks pretty gloomy. With schools and the future culture may not be as broad and all-encompassing as it is at the moment. And in terms of audiences, we've got an issue. So what are we going to do? Are we going to just leave the tanker to get on with it? Are we just going to stand back? Or are we going to do something about it? Maybe the most tempting thing to do is emigrate. This is Scotland. Things are different there. Creative Scotland are absolutely wedded to audiences being at the core of what they're doing in the future, and that's great news. Also, this week it was Poland, but Norway, Spain, all over the place. People come to the UK because we're really good at this stuff, and we need to keep doing it. But we need to get better. We need to make sure that in terms of the quality of audience development practice is the very best possible, available to everyone, everywhere. At the moment, we do some things really well, and we do some things less well in some places. We need to get fitter in terms of what we're doing. At the moment, we have a structure that is reliant on £1.2 million worth of regular funding support. That's going. We've got to fundamentally change how we do things to react to that. And finally, given the fact that that supertanker is going off in a different direction, we, those of us, individuals and organisations who care about this, need to provide some leadership and some direction. Anybody who cares about the future and cultural entitlement needs to say so. And anybody who believes that cultural organisations that are funded need to put audiences at the heart of what they're doing need to say so as well. And we need to make sure that they can afford really good, really high-skilled support to do that. Thank you.